Life for All presents Daily Food series, The Word of Life, the Fellowship of Life, and Living Stones for the Edification. The Epistles of John and Peter. Book 7. Hastening the Coming of the Day of God by Pedro. Week 2. God's Judgment on False Teachers. Sunday. The power is in the Word. Read with prayer. Even so, the Lord has commanded that those who preach the gospel should live from the gospel. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 14. God cares about his workers, about the colporteurs. The Lord commanded that those who preach the gospel should live from the gospel. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 14. How can we live from the gospel in practice? By colporting. Our emphasis is not on meeting goals. Setting goals aims to perfect our character and avoid complacency. We must always seek improvement to produce more for the Lord. The PAC, colporter outpost, has this objective. Still, the essence of everything is obedience to the word of the Lord and preaching the gospel of the kingdom in the entire inhabited earth until the end. This is our burden, our commission. We preach the gospel out of love for people. They are desperate, distressed, and exhausted, like sheep without a shepherd. Through colporting, we bring the word of truth to people so that they may be saved and live the gospel of the kingdom. The Lord sustains the colporters. If anyone does colport it for money, the work does not prosper. But if he generally does it out of love for the Lord, he supports him. False teachers are like wells without water, in which thirsty people seek water to quench their thirst and find nothing. They are like clouds without water, driven by the winds. The blackness of night has been reserved for them. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 17. They have a form of godliness, of spiritual men, but without the power of life. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. Because they lack the word of life. It is not man who has the power, but the word. They're like trees without fruit, dead and uprooted. They're like raging waves of the sea, which only roar with their own filth, waves that push the filth of the ocean onto the shore. Jude, verse 13. They speak arrogant words and lead everyone astray. They are slaves to corruption, for in fact, they were overcome by it. 2 Peter chapter 2, verses 18 and 19. Continuing the reading. For if, after they have escaped the pollution of the world through the knowledge of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, they are again entangled in them and overcome, the latter end is worse for them than the beginning. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 20. These people are not ignorant and have already received the benefit of the prophetic word. They have been in the church, enjoyed the knowledge of Jesus and the teaching of the apostles, but they have been entangled again, and their last state is worse than the first. These false teachers, mentioned by Peter, were leaders who were recognized for having followed the apostles, but they allowed themselves to be entangled by some unspeakable desire, position, preeminence, money, or covetousness. While they were with the apostles, they were considered leaders and had a certain prominence, but later they were left on their own with nothing to offer, like wells without water or trees without fruit. What a terrible situation. We have recently learned that some people have tried to buy followers in Africa with money. The Lord is just, and one day everything will be judged. Therefore, let us value the power of the Word, which changes our nature and transforms our soul, so that we may not be deceived by beautiful but empty words. By inculcating the Word in our hearts through immersion, the reality of God is transferred into our subjective faith, and thus we continue to receive life through the Word of truth.